Aiden Hill returns after missing 7 games, but pulls himself after apparently aggravating his injury in VGK's 6-3 win over the Senators on Sunday night. And Logan Thompson might have tweaked something as well. This very shaky goaltending situation. We get to that next, right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. Find us wherever you get your podcast and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Locked On Golden Knights. We are brought to you today by the Gametime app. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Let's start off, Chris. Aiden Hill. So his return lasted 6.5 minutes. Josh Norris scores on a power play goal, and Hill just did not react. I was just sitting here watching the game at home, and I was like, he just froze, right? He didn't really move. I couldn't tell what was going on. He didn't react to the puck. He re-aggravated his injury, apparently, lower body. Tell us what you saw from the press box.
Strange, weird. It reminded me of Robin Lehner and that one goal he gave up. He gave up a lot of goals, but one goal he gave up down the stretch when the Golden Knights were trying to qualify for the postseason in season 5, where someone just shot the puck and Robin Lehner looked like he had a clear view of it and he didn't even react to it. He just kind of stood there. Same thing happened with Aiden Hill. We're watching on the press box and I watched the replay right away. I'm like, this just doesn't seem right. And then it took him all of a couple of seconds to skate right to the bench, and Logan's grabbing his helmet right away. So right there, this is not good. This is reminiscent of what happened last season. Logan Thompson tried to come back after missing, 30 days, something like that. Whatever the number was against the Nashville Preds, almost makes it the whole game, and then all of a sudden has to pull himself out, and here we go.
If you were to guess, something in the hamstring area, he just didn't react. He didn't even move.
There's people on the press box that are a lot smarter than me when they're eyeballing this stuff. Hip is something that was mentioned because some with the leg locking up, could be something with the leg as well. But hip seemed to be the general guessing consensus from people that are, all of us that are sitting, 300 feet away, basically up in the press box. So who knows? But
yeah,
hip seems to be the leading candidate, but we'll literally never know unless Aiden writes a book after he retires.
The second the puck went in, you could tell that something was amiss. It was really strange because
when it hit his pad, it was just weird.
Right,
everything
was
weird.
Sort of stopped playing, right? He froze. And then we have Logan Thompson. He comes in and he's cold, obviously, comes into the game. It was supposed to be a day of rest because, as we know, Aiden Hill had missed the last 7 games. And 6 of those games, we saw the presence of Logan Thompson. So Logan Thompson has to come in. And then in the third period, he starts to favor. It appeared as though he might have hurt his right leg. It was his right leg that something had tweaked there. And then he comes off just for a second, goes to the bench, goes back out, but he's battling all night. And so tell us what you saw on that injury. And then in the aftermath, what you heard from Bruce Cassidy about the goaltending situation.
Another year, more goaltending drama, death taxes and goalie drama in Vegas. Those are the certainties in life. But
very true.
So you saw Logan, like you said, favoring that right leg. There was a TV timeout not long after. He spent the entire TV timeout talking to various staff members on the bench. Not Cassidy, but more or less the medical and stuff like that. And during the timeout, you saw him like moving his right leg clockwise and counterclockwise and whatever this was, from a Charlie horse to a cramp to something a lot worse potentially. So right after that happened, we saw a bunch of people go down the tunnel. So I don't know if they're going down the tunnel telling the e-bug, hey, start stretching. You might be actually coming into this game. I don't know how that side of things went. We don't know who the e-bug was. That was not disclosed from the team. There were various requests, but I guess unless the player actually enters the game, it's something that does not need to be disclosed for whatever reason. But after the TV timeout, you saw Logan slumped over. He was slumped over between opportunities for the Senators to score. He was able to go down to make saves. He was very slow to get up. And there was a play where, very innocent, but Logan plays the puck behind the nets. As he's skating back to the front of the net, he's using the crossbar to balance himself.
Oh boy.
So, Jesse Granger was up there. We were talking about it. He had a good observation. He mentioned that it looked like Logan was getting better as the period progressed from the moment he had hurt himself. I mean, he was stretching out. I don't know. But that was an interesting observation there. Post game, this was kind of strange. So Mark Stone did mention that Logan looked okay. He was up and walking around. Okay, that's good news. Coach Cassidy, he understands what happens with goalies in Vegas, and he took a cautious approach in his post game, saying hopefully he'll be fine for Tuesday, but he acknowledged what's happened in the past for the last 3 seasons now, right, with goalies, and the fact that anything could happen. Mentioned the potential of Patera, making the trip. Your tweet was dynamite of Patera packing his bags. That was an exclusive. That was that got a chuckle from a lot of us up in the box. And then, the interesting thing here. So Tony, you'll jump on this train with me right now. Patera's the other guy last season. Very, very classic quote from Bruce Cassidy. Cassidy mentioned how well Isaiah Seville is playing in the American League after a long layoff. So point being is Cassidy is much more in tune, at least based on his comments, with what's happening down in Henderson. The fact that he mentioned Isaiah Seville by name, I mean, is there a world that exists? And the answer is yes, but is there a world that exists where the 2 goalies that make this trip are going to be Patera and Isaiah Seville, with Paps Papirny on standby?
I'd like to see Paps up there. That would be really cool if he gets to.
It'd be cool for him. I don't know if it's great, the best option for VGK, but good dude. And you never know.
In the championship season, though, you go back just to a season ago, and you had other players. Of course, you had to play 5 goaltenders last year, including Brossois, including Quick, who is just unbelievable for my Rangers. Thanks for loaning us that guy, by the way, in New York. But
we need that guy back.
Again, you had to go through 5 goaltenders to get there. Fans might forget that, and now you're on 3 goalies in the rotation, potentially 4, and this trip could be a very long one ahead for VGK. Patera goes back to Henderson and then quickly has to be called right back up, and he'll be on the plane today headed to the Carolinas.
You would assume.
Yeah, we would assume. So that's about a wrap on the goaltending situation.
Well, don't forget, season 1 was 4 goalies. Season 1 was 4 goalies, and I had to unearth an article really fast on Vegas Hockey Now that I wrote July the 3rd. Concern over the Golden Knights goaltending situation.
Yeah, we've been concerned from day one. I was concerned about these 2 goaltenders heading into the season.
100%.
And you were talking about durability. You spoke specifically to durability and the fact that they hadn't played that many games in the past.
Okay, so here we go right here. In a perfect world, Thompson and Hill will chop up the starts pretty evenly and avoid injury issues.
60,
one of those boxes we're not going to check now. Can the duo of Thompson and Hill be relied upon to start 70 games? The answer is a maybe. Hill had his most career regular season starts last season with 27, Thompson with 36. Is 70 total starts a sustainable amount for the next 2 seasons of Thompson and Hill? This was obviously written after Aiden Hill got that extension, and I mean, Logan started 9 of the last 10 games. He's a warrior. He's battling. He's playing well. I don't know why the fan base is chopping him up in every Twitter post out there, but Logan is doing a very good job of carrying the mail. And, depending on what's up with what looks like his right side, hopefully he's okay enough. He's going to be starting a lot right now because, I mean, I'm total speculation, but I would be shocked if we saw Aiden in the next 30 to 45 days. I'll put that out there. I hope I'm wrong on the lesser side, but we'll see.
Maybe he came back too soon. Maybe he came back.
Cassidy mentioned that, and he also said, "We'll never know. We'll never know."
Someone knew. Okay, so Jack Eichel.
Oh yeah, we got a game to recap too.
That's right. 6-3 the final. VGK with the win. Most games, the longest streak in VGK history. 3 goals on special teams, 2 power play, and 1 of the shorthanded variety on Stone to Chandler Stevenson. And that was just amazing. So is it 10 power play goals over the last 9 games now? I think that's what the number might be. I think so.
Sounds about right. I should pull up the numbers. I don't got them in front of me.
That's all right. Well, let's just say that's a fact because we're going to make stuff up here.
Here's the important. It's funny. Here's the important takeaway, though, for the special teams. Golden Knights were down 0-2 in the special teams, right? Ottawa's first 2 goals, both power play goals. Aiden Hill doesn't count, but it still checks the box, obviously, as a power play goal. And the Golden Knights, I believe, won the special teams battle 3-2 in the dust settle. They got the shorty. They got the shorty and 2 power play goals. So that's some resiliency right there. And a couple of the goals that the Golden Knights got on the power play results, well, definitely Ben Hutton's pass to Nicholas Waugh, something the team scouted, where Mark Stone felt they gave up the middle of the ice on breakouts to the other team. And, good scouting led to at least 1 goal and maybe even Stevenson's shorty too.
Alec Martinez returned, and then he got injured or tweaked something, and then he went out, but he came back, right? He returned in the game. I thought I saw him later on in the game.
Yeah, I saw a tweet. I didn't even catch it in real time. I don't know if it happened. If it happened in the second period, I'm kind of a ghost in the second period when my son's at the game because that's when we spend our time walking around and having
photos with the cheerleaders and Santa.
That Santa was enjoying himself. He was yeah.
A little Christmas cheer, some Christmas cheer.
There was some Christmas cheer for that Santa.
Okay, Ivan Barbashev, 9 points in 9 games.
10 and 9. 10 and 9. Come on, Tony.
10
points, 9 games.
In 9 games. Okay.
That's my guy.
We never gave up on that cat.
Never.
Okay. So on his goal, though, 1 player breaks his stick and then 2 players go off the ice for Ottawa, which was very strange. And then, of course, they have pretty much a break and they have their odd man rush right there.
Barbashev. So a question I'm not the only one, but been concerned about Barbashev's output to start the year, right? 6 points, 23 games, last 9 games, 10 points. So there you go. Why is he doing well? Is this because, he's just a great player and you're not going to keep him down? Partially, maybe. Is this because Jack Eichel is really hot? Of course. Mark Stone is an absolute killer right now. What's he, 7? Is he like 7 points now in the last 2 or 3 games?
I don't know all those streaks, but he did have 3 assists last night.
So you look at Stone coming up on the top line, Marchessault going down a line. And that was my question to Cassidy. Are we crediting Barbashev for finding his game? Is it the line clicking? Is it Mark Stone and this new synergy? And one of the comments that Cassidy did make about that is you can't keep good players down, and that's a fair statement, right? You get a different synergy when you bring a player like Mark Stone up to that line. And I'll say it again, time and space are 2 of the most important things you can have on the ice. Jack Eichel creates the time. He carries the puck. He does this thing. It frees up opportunity for other players to get open. Mark Stone is the better. They're both good, gritty around the nets, but Stone's probably still the better of the 2 in tight from the nets. So now all Barbashev needs to do is find a soft spot, and there's going to be plenty of them out there because of the time that Jack Eichel commands and the space that Mark Stone commands. So Barbashev's figuring it out right now. He is figuring it out, and that line is all of a sudden, I don't know what to compare it to, but it's one of the most lethal lines, if not the most lethal line over the last week in the NHL.
Coming up next, we went very long on that segment, but
Very
of
long.
course we
Very
had to
long.
talk. We had to talk about the goaltending situation, which still isn't resolved. But coming up
This would
next,
be an hour show. We wouldn't hit everything today.
we've got a recap of Friday's game against the
Got
Buffalo
Christmas lights on.
Sabres.
Got the Christmas
The
lights.
loss. I see the lights are on. We'll get to that when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Gametime is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. Make sure to pick up your Gametime app tickets now for the holiday season. You could find exclusive flash deals and sponsor deals on tickets for everything from the NHL to football, basketball, baseball, to concerts, to comedy, theater, and much, much more. And with zone deals, you pick the section, and Gametime will pick the seats for an average of 18% savings. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app today, create an account, use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL. $20 off of your first purchase is what you'll receive. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use a redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. We are back on this Monday edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. We appreciate you tuning in. Fridays are WTF. What the Friday? Almost said something else. And of course, on Saturdays, it's the Chris and Chris show with Chris Golick and little Chris
WTF
Golick.
might be a long segment on Friday.
Yeah, it might just be a WTF show.
WTF? Who's the e-bug? Who's the e-bug? I'm starting early.
Did you bring your pads to the
should have.
rink?
You're like the third person to ask me that. I don't have any, but I said if I were to go in there, they need to have a forklift handy to lift me up because with all those pads, I'm not getting up easily.
What about that one meme someone sent us with Leonard in net?
Oh God,
that was pretty funny. Where is Robin Leonard when you need him? Okay, so Friday night, VGK lost to Buffalo.
If he just comes out of the,
he should just come out. It just. I mean, even if he just stands there, he'd be more healthy than any of the guys they have currently. VGK loses to Buffalo 5-2 Friday night. Their only loss on the homestand, as it turns out. Jack Eichel gave VGK the lead at 2-1, and then they blew the lead. Did the Golden Knights did not play well, didn't execute well, and all the thing about Cassidy though, all he could talk about, he's in the holiday spirit. Before he becomes South Beach Bruce, he's Santa Bruce. He's Santa Bruce right now. All he did was talk about Rudolph and his nose and the story.
That was a very strange press or media availability. I don't know if I was happy I went to that one or didn't go, but I know there wasn't a lot of media people there.
Of them. He did a follow-up on all the Christmas shows.
Yeah, no, that was I kind of wish I was at that one, but I was working on that day, so I couldn't make it.
Yeah, so this is a VGK team that they said on the post-game show on TV last night, special teams now plus 16 goals. Never would have thought that at the start of this season. But again, special teams are cooking. And VGK is also now giving up. Let's see if we could break this down here. They've given up 15 goals in 4 games at home. That has to be a major concern for Bruce Cassidy. They won 3 out of 4, right, on the homestand, but they did give up a lot of goals.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways we can start chopping this thing up here. Concern about the goals, right? In the blown third period leads. 12 goals given up in the first 3 games of the road trip with goalies in the net, not counting empty netters and junk like that. Blown third period leads 3 consecutive games to not so great teams. Call it what it is. Sharks, Flames, Sabres. I think the highest ranking divisional opponent is the Flames in 4th or 5th in division. And that's just, whatever to that. So credit the Golden Knights for finishing the game against the Ottawa Senators and leaving on a high note. outside of the potential injuries, of course. This would be a much different vibe on this show if it wasn't for what happened to Hill and potentially Thompson. But definitely a concern in the fact that the Golden Knights have had a hard time closing out games. I think that's where I'll start my perspective, at least. A lot of heat on Logan Thompson right now, unfortunately, for that. And it's not part of it. Sure, he's the goalie, but not all of it should be on Logan Thompson whatsoever. One more point I was going to make. I don't know. Go ahead, Tony. Start rambling about something. I'll get back to it.
I can start rambling about your interview with Peyton Krebs post game.
Man, that's going viral. That's viral. It's like almost at 100K right now views.
No way. I thought it was tremendous. Okay. He tries to fight Eichel. He said Eichel didn't want it. Did he really say that?
I got the video queued up if you want to see it. I can put it right here right now if you want.
Let's just take a look at it. I think this is great. Yeah.
All right, right from the start, folks. Turn your volume up a tiny bit. Here we go.
Okay.
All right, so Sidney Crosby in the preseason, Jack Eichel today. You having some fun right now or what?
Yeah, no, he didn't want it, so. No, it was good. We're just battling out there, and I gotta stick up for my teammates, and he happened to be the guy. So, he's battling, I'm battling. That's just where it goes.
How do you feel coming back?
There you go. That's good enough, right there. At the end, I got one more funny one at the end, but I want to go for a minute. So,
I heard scrawny dude. He's real scrawny.
He's small, but Krebs and I think it was Rasmus Dahlin were talking, and they had some action. So you hear the term "money on the board" around the NHL, and basically, players are putting up money for certain things during the game. It's perfectly allowed. It happens in every locker room. And Krebs and someone else had a little action for who would have the most hits in the game. And they both tied. So I asked him, I said, hey, you guys got some action going on? What's up with all this chirping I hear? And he explained that to me. I said, hey, you guys gonna go out in Vegas and party? He's like, oh, no, we got back to back. I'm like, dude, it's Vegas, bro. Just stay, hang out. And I got a good laugh out of him. But fun kid. Shout out to Devon Levy, the goalie for the Sabres. Very humble, fun to interact with. We were talking a little bit off camera, and I saw some really nice comments he made about Vegas and enjoying our city and your city, saying it like that. Just very humble kid. Hopefully he can have a nice future in the NHL.
22 years old, something like that. So he was legal to gamble here for the first time. And then again, the issue about breakdowns with the lead. Why do you think they're giving up the lead in those situations?
In the Sabres game, they chased. So in Ottawa, kind of the same way. The Golden Knights don't necessarily want to. They're okay playing off the rush, but that's different than being in the ring going punch for punch with somebody. That happened back in the Montreal Canadiens game. It was the road game where there's just an explosion of goals in the second period. Mark Stone says, hey, we're comfortable winning games in different varieties, if you will. But the Golden Knights don't want to exchange high danger chances. They'll still probably do better in most situations like that, but that's just not who the Golden Knights are. Their defensive system is to keep the neutral zone clean and not allow players to make these long stretch passes, which leads to odd man rushes. Well, unfortunately, that's how Buffalo scored a couple of their goals. I mean, Alex Tuch, and this was just a breakdown by Barbashev, unfortunately, making a bad pass, but you got a glimpse of how fast things can turn and how crazy fast Alex Tuch is through the neutral zone. So the Golden Knights need to play their game, and they did credit that for part of the reason they won Sunday's game against the Senators, playing their game, staying in their system, imposing their will on the game, and not chasing the game.
I found something real interesting. I think you had started a question, and then Cassidy, I think it was on your question on the answer. Did he mention that they practiced 6-on-5? That is so funny because we know that came from our show specifically because that's what we were talking about last week.
It might have also come because the Golden Knights have been politely stating, saying it politely, very poor on the 6-on-5. But I don't know if
that was one of our questions.
It definitely was.
And then someone asked us about it. Then he just suddenly blurts that out. Come on, get with it. Okay,
fair enough.
I know the Christmas lights are on. Golic is
They're frying my brain right now.
Coming up next, what's ahead for VGK this week? We take a look at that schedule right here on Locked On Golden Knights. You can score right now and during the NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to do so. Get into the action. The app is so easy to use. There is a wide variety of betting options, including point spreads, player props, over-unders, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel today at FanDuel.com/lockedon and get into the action this NFL season. FanDuel, the official betting partner of the National Football League. Welcome back, Locked On Golden Knights. This Monday edition, holiday week ahead. My goodness, already. Are you ready for Christmas? Have you done all your shopping? Have you watched Rudolph yet?
No.
Wow.
No.
So you're going to be leaving town, right? Get a little break here this week. We have to talk about that. That's this
call
week.
That a break? Sure. I mean, it'll be fun to spend a holiday away from home. I guess it'll be nice. But when I kept saying no, I'm thinking of all the things that need to happen between now and our flight and stuff like that. And just the answer is no. I'm not ready for anything.
The answer is no. You're not ready.
I'm not ready not to work for a few days. I'm not ready for anything. Besides that, it's all great.
Yeah. Well, I was under the weather, as you know. Friday, we just made it through the show and then slept all Friday, Saturday, and a lot of Sunday. And when that happens, you have a lot of work to catch up on, which also it's almost the same effect as when you leave town, too. Golden Knights are leaving town. They need to regroup now, especially with the goaltending situation up in the air. They have 3 games upcoming on this road trip. So Tuesday, which is tomorrow, they'll be at Carolina. And then Thursday in Tampa and Saturday in the Sunshine State for South Beach Bruce at Florida. Watch how quickly that tan comes up. Just watch. He'll go from 0 to bronze on this road trip. So I'll have a nice Christmas tan.
I'm supposed to follow up that. No, it's going to be, I mean, there's so many storylines coming into the road trip. Will that top line just continue to do what they do? Are we talking 6 to 5 games? Is Logan going to be ready to go? Is Isaiah Seville going to get a start? Is Patera going to go? Like what happens? Let's go worst to the worst and climb our way out of it from there. But let's assume it's Patera and Seville for a second. It's a possibility, folks. It is a possibility. We're speculating. Yes.
Will they travel 3 goalies? Potentially?
That's a good question. I want to know.
Regardless, I'm going to say
if they need to, if they have to
Patera
call up.
Patera has to go in the Carolina game, regardless of whether Thompson's fine or not. He needs a break.
I'm with yes. Okay, let's assume for a second it's Logan and Yuri Patera. I am with you. Logan should not start that game, no matter what the circumstances are. Right? But Coach Cassidy said hopefully he'll be good to go for Tuesday and get it and
he's crazy. No.
Well, he's optimistic and he's hoping, but Cassidy also knows. If there's any
swelling today, if that's a knee injury, if it's something else, who knows? And whether or not that leg swells up in whatever area he's hurt.
Adrenaline is a heck of a drug for the human body, and that can certainly lead to changes once the adrenaline wears off and everything. But there's a world that exists where you're going to see number 3 and number 4 both goal this week. I mean, let's just again, we're assuming the worst. Patera, they might even both have to be emergency call-ups with the way the roster, but who cares about that? There's a world that exists where Patera might start and maybe he has a bad game. I hope not. His stats in Henderson have not been great, but there's a world that exists where you could see Isaiah Seville making an NHL debut. I've got the Silver Knight stat. I got so many windows open. Here we go. All right, so Isaiah Seville has played 3 games in the American League. He's 3-0 with a .950 save percentage. Let's go, Isaiah.
Bring him in.
Patera is not nearly as strong in his numbers at a 900 save percentage.
He knew Seville's name.
He knew it right away. He did.
He didn't call him the other guy?
Nope.
No.
Nope,
Okay.
Patera 317 goals allowed per game, and in the American League, his lone start in the NHL level was against the Sharks last week. This season, his lone start, it wasn't that good, and it's been so long. I mean, there's drama. There's drama right now, and
All right. The goalie carousel
it's
lives.
fun to cover, but you hope these guys do get well because they're competitors and they need to be out there. And Aiden's worked hard to get back on the ice. That's what everyone was talking about in the interviews and the scrums at the end. And I mean, Coach Cassidy did say if he's going to be out long term. Cassidy did specify that if he's going to be out long term. They're saying that in the post, and Coach Cassidy doesn't like talking injuries. He does not like talking injuries in the post game and giving updates because he usually A, doesn't know, or B, just teams don't want to talk about that. So the fact that Coach Cassidy went that deep on the situation, that tells you something. It does.
Yeah. It also tells me something that Aiden Hill was out for precautionary measures. A rough start for Carolina. They're fourth place in the Metro behind the Rangers. The Lightning are a fifth place team, as they'll be taking on the Golden Knights. And then Florida is perhaps the hottest of the three teams. Now it's 6-3-1 in their last 10 games, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, Florida, pardon the yawn right there. It's Monday. Coffee. And it's my second cup of coffee.
I know.
Yet.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
But Florida, I mean, this is going to be fun. Oh my gosh, this game is circled on the Panthers' schedule. They want this game. They want it bad. Got to deal with another flipping Tkachuk out there, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Last game before the holiday season, so maybe the players will be in the holiday spirit a little bit, and they'll be a little nicer to each other. That's not going to be the case. Tkachuk is going to be looking for Kolesar in this game. That's going to happen. Those two are going to tangle early and often. And honestly, if Kolesar can take into the box for 5, that's not a bad thing for the Golden Knights either. But plenty of drama, and I'll probably be on an airplane while that game's playing. And we're going to hope Breeze Airways has some good Wi-Fi. It's probably going to suck.
Brady Tkachuk fraternizing with Mark Stone. They went to UFC together. I think Stone kind of softened them up there. Probably got him a couple of beers because he didn't really go after him.
No, Tkachuk behaved except the trip. He had just a terrible trip.
He went after Amadio.
Yeah. That was, I don't know what the heck the refs were looking at on that one. That was bad.
Yeah, it would have been a mismatch. You notice how VGK flops now when there's a stick involved?
Flops. He got wiped out. Stop it. I'll go down the road with some of your things, Tony. You want to talk? Oh, wait a minute. Terrible job, Tony. You're the quarterback of the show. You never even talked about William Karlsson's goal yesterday. What the heck?
What? He scored? Oh, he's the e-bug too. William Karlsson. We got to get some of those.
He's not a two-way player. He's a three-way player, apparently. He's a goalie now, too.
Player. He's a goalie, too. But don't worry, I got my share of wrath from the fans last night. It was awesome.
Oh, hold on. I have a unknown media member that wanted me to ask you about the U-Log.
U-Log? We could talk about that tomorrow. Yeah,
where it started and everything, and the holiday. Yeah.
Okay, we could talk about that. Put that on the list. You could put that on that board right now, and we'll get to that tomorrow because there won't be much to talk about other than goalie drama and the road trip. And I still say NHL should release the docket of who's traveling on these trips. Seriously, don't you think? Okay.
I mean, I don't like all the secrecy. It's not necessary. You were shocked when someone talked about it, an actual injury for someone, like an actual injury. Was it Tarasenko's or whatever injury it was?
I forget. I posted it the other day, and it was just they said it was a hip injury or whatever the injury was, but they officially said they told the public what the injury was and why the player was out.
Someone could tear an ACL, and it would be month to month,
month to month. Precautionary.
Or Aaron Rodgers 9 weeks.
We appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you so much for listening and watching us here every day, especially our everydayers. Don't forget Fridays, WTF, Saturdays, the Chris and Chris show. That's still going to come to us, even though you'll be on the road. Is this going to be from the airport?
I don't know, because you and I got to do a double show this week. I'm not sure. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what time
an entire show on Rudolph and the Yule log. Okay, an entire show.
You
We
can have the keys
appreciate
to the
you
car
tuning
for
in.
that one. I'll be sleeping, but sure.
Thanks so much. Of course, tomorrow we'll have a preview of that Carolina game. We'll see if there's any more information out there on the goaltenders and much, much more. We'll see you tomorrow right here from my man, Chris Golick, Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. Take care.